Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sunday Afternoon Smokes, your casual conversation podcast from the upstate of South Carolina. My name's Chris. I'm your host. I'm also the owner and operator of The Cigar Box, a mobile cigar bar that serves the upstate and beyond. If you've been listening to these conversations and want to support the show, the easiest and best thing you can do is simply just to give it a follow wherever you're listening, and I'd really appreciate it. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down with Juliette Pierce. Juliette, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to the conversation. And what I like to do on Sunday Afternoon Smokes is just let my guests introduce themselves. So take a minute, say as much or as little about yourself as you like. And while you do that, I'm going to light my cigar.
Alrighty. Well, my name is Juliette Pierce, and I am the current Mrs. Greenville, South Carolina, America. I'm also a new gym owner, and I have a husband and 6 dogs, and we live in a mill house. We just bought our house a year ago, and so I work as a coach, an athlete, and a gym owner.
That's a lot going on.
Yes.
Congratulations on the purchase of your first home.
Thank you.
That's a big deal, man.
It is.
Like,
yeah.
How do you feel having purchased a home?
Honestly, it's unbelievable because I've never lived in a home that my family has owned before. We've always rented growing up. And it did not seem like a possibility for me and my husband for a little while. It was kind of just something we were hopeful for. And then God kind of allowed to happen kind of out of what seems like nowhere. But obviously, he's got a great plan in store. So last year, we were able to purchase our first home, which actually is right by the mill. So it's like a very nice little mill house, perfect for us. Can't wait to start our family in it.
Do you feel like owning a home gives you a sense of more, I mean, I don't know if sense of accomplishment or a sense of being more grounded? Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, for sure. I would say it's provided a lot of security and stability for me, and definitely a place where I feel like I can, be relaxed in, because I love animals. I love dogs, and I've always picked up the stray dogs. And it's always been a very big stress on the places we were renting, because I'm trying to hide, 6 dogs in a house that's only allowing 2 dogs.
Hiding 6 dogs is tough. That's a tough job.
Yeah. So now having a spot where I could just bring as many animals and, set up however which way I want without anybody, coming in and trying to change that is pretty cool. And just having a home base.
Yeah, I mean, it's your house, it's your rules.
Yes.
There's no notice 3 months out, hey, I'm selling my home, you got to find a new place to live.
Exactly.
And now you have, you and your husband, you have your place.
Yes.
And it's your boo, as I like to call it, it's base of operations, the boo. And I don't know, there's something pretty grounding and exciting about having a place that you can literally physically call yours.
No, I completely agree. And it ended up being in the most perfect spot, like right across the street is just little walkways for us. We're very, athletic, and I have a lot of steps to do. So we could literally just take laps around the mill. It feels like our own little personal little spot, just like our own little town.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get too far. I mean, I'm enjoying it already, and I don't want to get too far off. We need to get you to your cigar. But I do want to touch on something you said, that you and your husband were looking at the situation, and you felt like it was impossible to own a home. And then through a series of events, you felt like God moved, and now you have one. So what have you learned about the impossible becoming possible?
I would have to say that obviously the faith aspect, the faith has been the biggest thing. Because without it, nothing has happened, nothing has changed in my life personally. The biggest mover for me has just been getting saved, putting my faith in God, and letting him have the keys.
Right.
I've always been very much trying to take control of my own things, self-preserving. And the second I finally, surrender that, that's when I saw a lot of the things that I was unable to do within my own life and circumstances start to move, go beyond what I ever thought was possible.
Sure.
And there's just been a series of events since then that have happened that have broadened my horizons with that only further.
That's awesome. Man, that's awesome that you have become a Christian. I was excited to read that in the podcast notes that you shared with me before the episode. I am, if anybody listens to this show, they know I'm a committed Christian. I got saved December the 19th, 1999. I'll never forget the day.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget the church, the service, the moment, the message. I know the exact text the pastor preached that day, and it has totally revolutionized my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed everything for the better.
Yes.
That doesn't mean there's not going to be difficulty. It doesn't mean there's not going to be hardship. It doesn't mean just because you're a Christian that life isn't going to suck sometimes. Yeah. It means a lot. And I don't want to get on a deep theological rant here. But it means that God is with you now through that difficulty, whereas you were in it on your own.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. Look, you said before the show that you wanted a light cigar.
Yes.
And so I have hand-selected for you the Avo Exo Intermezzo, an excellent cigar that's going to be a mild smoke, pretty smooth, maybe notes of cream, light coffee, some subtle sweetness. Not that we're trying to get any of that. This is about the conversation. You told me that you have very light experience with cigars.
Correct.
How so?
In the sense of I've maybe tried to hit a cigar one time ever and improperly did it. I didn't know you weren't supposed to inhale it and just kind of coughed a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the extent of it.
Okay, so you've never full on smoked a whole cigar by yourself?
No, not at all. I haven't gone to the full experience of one.
We're getting like full on exposure, Sunday afternoon smokes, breaking barriers. Juliette Pierce, Miss Greenville America, I hope this is okay for Mrs. Greenville America to
smoke
cigars. Okay. On Sunday afternoon smokes. This is really cool. Okay, so do you have any idea how to light this thing?
I would assume just the end of it, correct?
Well, that is correct. You're very correct. We don't light from the middle. Yeah. We light from the very end. So basically what you want to do is you want to take your lighter and you want to kind of toast the end. You want to toast it up.
Okay.
Well, your husband over there, I see he has successfully lit his cigar. I got him a Romeo and Juliet, and so it looks like you have some experience there. It's a little more difficult for me to coach this from all the way across the table. So feel free to jump in and kind of help her out. You want to toast the foot. Yeah, there you go. You want to kind of toast the foot up. There you go. Rotate it around. People, backing off just a smidge from you don't want to just totally burn the bejesus out of it. This is an audio-only podcast, so people aren't seeing this, and that's totally fine. Yeah, just puff and fire at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let me help you out here. Pass that across the table. Nope, just know the cigar.
Okay.
That's okay. This is instructional moments here. So basically, when you're doing a cigar, you see where I'm at here?
Okay.
Instead of here?
Yes, I see.
So a little cigar education for your future smokes. When you smoke a cigar, what you're tasting is the natural oils and sugars in the tobacco leaf.
Gotcha.
These butane torches, they burn very hot, 2,200 degrees. I don't want to burn the sugar. I don't want to burn the oil. I just want to loosen it up. I want to toast it. Because burnt anything is bleh,
yes.
Right? So that's what we're doing here. I'm back here. Now, admittedly, this is much easier to do in the shade. In the sunlight, it's hard to see what's going on. But I just kind of want to toast this up, and we're loosening everything up, getting it ready. And when you smoke your cigar, so now we're getting we're ready to start puffing. Get that little ash build up, and you're seeing it. We're building a little cherry. There you go. Now, you can take a drag or a puff, but what you want to do is long, sustained puffs. Not like
not short ones. Okay.
Right. We're mm-hmm. There we go. Having to show my cigar a little bit of attention, but you really want to fill up your mouth and fill up your cheeks, right? And then it's just kind of letting it out, and you're getting the experience of the cigar. You're getting the flavor profiles if you want. I mean, this is your very first cigar, so you can try it if you want, but the retro hail is always very nice. A little smoke out the nose. You get a lot more flavor that way. But that takes some practice. It's a finesse thing, but you've got it. Look at that. It's finesse, whatever. Juliette Pierce. This Greenville America. That's what she's doing. Already a pro. Can you tell, though, now that you've sent it out the nose, you get a lot of flavor up in the
Oh,
nasal
yeah,
cavity.
for sure.
So, first experience with a cigar of your own, what are you thinking? What do you think?
Definitely a lot smoother than the first time I've ever tried, with not inhaling it all the way, and just the way, just filling up the cheeks with the smoke. I think it's a very smooth, delightful, relaxing, and it's not like too strong of a flavor or anything like that.
Right. No, you've got a mild cigar. It's a Connecticut shade, meaning so that tobacco, that wrapper on the outside, that is a tobacco seed from the Connecticut River Valley here in the America. Now, for Avo, they may have grown it in Ecuador. I'm not sure. A lot of Connecticut seed is grown in Ecuador. But that's a very light, very mild cigar. Would go great that's like a great morning smoke with a cup of coffee while you walk your dog, or while you if you're a person who gets up in the morning and reads the news, or you get up in the morning. Like for me, it'd be like, I want to smoke this and coffee and read the scripture, or whatever your morning routine is. Go smoke it at the gym. I don't know, probably not. But that's a really excellent cigar. So. One of the things you told me before the show is you wrote and said that you were excited about telling your story.
Yes.
And how long have you held the title Mrs. Greenville America?
I have held it since February 20th, so maybe a month.
Oh, okay. So this is very new.
Yes,
all right.
America, at least. There's different pageant systems.
Sure.
And so I've held the title of Mrs. South Carolina Earth previously back in 2022, and I held that for a year. And then before that, I was Mrs. Greenville Earth for a year.
Okay.
Yes.
So being in the world of pageants, there's obviously a lot of showmanship. There's a lot of talking. There's, I guess probably interviews here and there. That kind of thing. However, Sunday Afternoon Smokes is a casual, long-form conversation. So in all that you've accomplished, have you had the chance to really sit down with anybody and tell the whole story?
No, not at all. That's why I was super excited about this.
Awesome.
I would say with pageants, they're very good at helping you be very concise within a specific amount of time. For me, that was you have 4 minutes to kind of pitch what you have to say or to interview with. So they have to still ask me questions. So I can't just talk straight for 4 minutes.
Sure.
So I think that's what pageants are so great for. It's helping you to be concise with what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like get it out there and package it in a way that's whenever you have a short amount of time to speak, you're able to get it out there.
Yeah.
The long form is what I'm excited about because there's just so much more that you have to leave out.
Right.
Whenever you're giving those shorter answers.
Well, this podcast is all about that. It is an unhurried conversation with somebody. Like cigars are a feature, they're not the focus. The conversation is the occasion on this podcast. So, before we get into, we lightly touched on the pageantry world, which we will get into, but before bodybuilding, before pageants, before gym ownership, before home ownership, because when people look at a resume like yours, because you said it to me and I'm like, wow, this is pretty impressive. They jump straight to achievements. but those things don't appear out of nowhere. So your journey starts in Florida.
Yes.
Run with it.
It does. So I was born in Coral Springs, Florida. It's part of Broward County area. I generally tell people Fort Lauderdale because that's kind of where everybody knows where that is. It's kind of all the way at the south of Florida. And I am the second oldest of 5. My mom's side is Puerto Rican and my dad's side is Italian. And so I grew up with a very big family on both sides, actually. But I grew up with a single teenage mother basically the whole time. And so I grew up basically around her family. And since she was a teen mom, I spent a lot of time with my aunts and being kind of passed around from family to family because my mom was working all the time and it was very hard to manage, 2 children at that time and working full time. So that was really cool. That was actually a really cool time in my life because I was kind of raised by like my aunts as well, who are her older sisters. So,
time out. Sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, don't be afraid to take a little break in your story and smoke your cigar because it will go out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah. So you might have to relight. There you go. It's still going. So yeah, feel free to just kind of take a minute, take a puff, and come back to it. Because again, this is an unhurried podcast.
I like that.
Continue, ma'am.
No, you're good. I would like to point out my mom actually left home when she was 13 with my father when he was 18 or 19 at the time. Yes, big age difference. But I'd like to think back in the day that the age gaps were a little bit different. And she actually didn't know she was pregnant with either me or my older brother. And I have a funny story of how she learned she was pregnant with me. It was actually when in the county jail when she...
It's always a great place to find out you're pregnant.
I like to tell people I've been in jail before because
nice.
That's where, she found out she was pregnant with me. They give you a pregnancy test. But at that time, she got arrested for domestic violence against my father. And that's just kind of like a snapshot, I would say, of kind of the relationship between my mom and my dad and why they ended up kind of not working out in the end. They were never married. And so with that, I didn't grow up with a strong male figure in my life.
Super important.
Yes, for sure. And that was definitely a part of the reason with a lot of the issues I struggled with later on in life as well. But unbeknownst to me at the time.
Sure.
For sure.
I mean, you're a product of your environment. You don't know what you don't know, especially as a 10, 12, 14-year-old kid. You're ignorant of these things. Mm-hmm. And so, but you've learned them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then it was a string of, I've watched my mom kind of grow up since she got pregnant with my brother at 16, had him at 17. Then shortly after got pregnant with me at 18, had me at 19. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like I've grown up with my mom and I've, kind of watched her go through her life and the decisions she's made and kind of learned from that, being her oldest daughter too. But fast forward, she ended up marrying my now ex-stepfather. And that's when she had her other 3 children, which were my 2 younger sisters. And then I have a younger brother as well. And we ended up actually moving to South Carolina when I was in like 3rd grade because his sister moved over here. And we visited and they liked it a lot. And so that's kind of what led me to South Carolina because I know Florida to South Carolina seems a little...
backwards.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like, how did I get here?
Well, most people are moving to Florida because it's and there's the beaches and it's, all that. But there are people that, do leave Florida for various reasons. So, yeah, I can understand why it might seem a little backwards to come to here from there.
Yes, for sure. And I would say that just knowing my mom, she's definitely been the type to, when you're like in a fight or flight, like she's the type to kind of leave. So for us moving to South Carolina, there was a part of, I think, her that wanted to leave that environment. She didn't want her children growing up into the same environment that she grew up in, which I understand.
Makes sense.
It was rough. Like we grew up a little bit, poor, on the poorer side. And so that tends to lead you into rougher areas. And then you grow up in those environments, and then you get influenced, into doing other things that I know she didn't want for us.
Sure. How long have y'all been married?
4.5 years.
Nice. Congrats. Off topic here, and feel free to tell me this is none of my business. I'm just curious, is there like family plans in the future?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. Have you spent, considering everything that you just told me about your childhood and the future that you and your husband are planning, how has what you've learned affected your thoughts towards the kind of mother you want to be?
I would say it affected it a lot, but in a good way.
Sure.
Before I was saved, I would say it was all the negatives. Like, I never wanted to be a mother, actually. I never wanted to get married. I had a lot of wounds from my childhood because of, again, no father figure. And then I resented the fact that I had siblings that I had to help take care of because a lack of, again, support from the husband side with my mom. So it really wasn't until I would say I got married, or I met Evan in general, my husband, that I realized those were actually things I really wanted. And I think God just really worked on my heart and changed that perspective for me. I did not have that prior to that.
Yeah. Well, there's something amazing about meeting a person who loves you well and can change your entire outlook on life, because you say, I never wanted to have kids. I never wanted to have a family because, like you said, I have all of these wounds. But then you meet this person who loves you, respects you, who treats you properly, and you're like, okay, I can have this man's children, or I'm okay. I want to have this woman have my babies. Because, I mean, there's safety and there's trust there, and that it's just right. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
No,
it's hard to put it
agree.
in words. I think what you're talking about is so important in the world that we live in today. I have 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. And you can point them out now. Like, are you, knowing what you've been through, oh gosh, I don't want to phrase this question. I mean, we're in deep water right here. I mean, I like it. I mean, what kind of, what did you, have you learned, what did you miss in your life by not having a strong father figure to raise you? What did that mess up?
Oh, yeah. In hindsight, I realized it had a lot to do with the insecurities that I had. I didn't really know a lot about my dad's side of the family that much. Like, just not even knowing where you come from that much. All I knew is, he's Italian. And I knew a little bit, very little bits and pieces of what I could try to put together. So in a way, like, my identity, who I was, security in who I was, and then being raised in, more impoverished communities, it makes you feel like the oddball out. And then since I was kind of, half Puerto Rican, half Italian, I always struggled with my identity in the sense of fitting in anywhere, because my nickname on my mom's side of the family was just white girl. And then because they're all Spanish, I thought that was so cool. Like, I love the heritage aspect of that, but I didn't look like that side of the family. And then, so I didn't really felt like I fit in anywhere. I was so, out of place and just felt kind of insecure about that in general. And I feel like having a father figure there would really help to not only secure me in that, but also help me to, be secure in who I could be as a girl, just a girl growing up with her dad.
No, I mean, you're hitting on it. Here's the thing that a lot of girls, I mean, a father, we're talking about fathers, not mothers. We can get back to mothers, but fatherhood is so important. You know, if you have sons, you need a father there. I mean, he's playing the role of alpha dog, right? He's the alpha male. This is the rules. This is how you, I mean, and a single mom can handle a son, but when he starts to get 14, 15, 16, 17, it's going to get difficult. And that's where the father really becomes like his full potential of what his obligations are really come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest daughter's 13, and here's what I think. And I think probably it's not just what I think, but I pretty believe social studies would bear this out. Girls without a father wind up seeking affection from the wrong places, from the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do as a father is love my 13-year-old daughter so hard and to be the strongest example of what masculinity is and what proper attention and affection is, so that when she turns 16, 17, 18, and young males approach her, she measures them against me and says, that's not the right kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
How did that play out for you?
When I think about it, and what you just said definitely hit for sure. The biggest thing that came to mind was worth. I didn't understand that. I didn't think I was worthy of a certain love or affection. And that's what I struggled with a lot. And that's what I struggled with, I would say even in teenage years when I went to go, start dating, I didn't know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? And then I watched my mom go through multiple failed relationships, and even ones where the men were like physically abusive towards her. And so my idea was so mixed up, I would say, by the time it was time for me to start dating, that I just didn't know. I would end up with people who were unemotionally like available, and then I just thought that's normal. Like, I didn't understand that at all. So it was just funny because when me and my now husband started dating, he would try to get to know me like on a really deep, like uncomfortable level.
Oh, you were so guarded.
Oh, yeah, I really was. And I didn't even know that, though.
Sure.
It was something that I was completely unaware of.
Uh-huh.
And you just pick up these self-preserving, things as you go through life when you're young. And they serve you when you're young. They're there to help you,
Mm-hmm.
to help guard you. But then it doesn't, help you any longer when you grow out of that.
Well, the things that the two of you will wind up instilling in your children is that, and like, it's so important what you just said. You didn't feel worthy of love. And I've tried to explain to my children, and gosh, it's hard to put it into words until you are a parent yourself. But like, I've tried to explain to them, like, I don't care what you look like or, in the overall, of course, yeah, I don't want you going out of the house, looking like a clown, but like, I love you unconditionally solely on the fact that you're mine. That's it. You don't, like, if you misbehave, it's not like I love you less. And if you behave properly, it doesn't make me love you more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love you just on the sole fact that you're my kid, and that is unconditional. And so, like, whenever you get into that dating world and you start going out with this guy or that girl, and you see how they're treating how they're treating you, how they're talking to you, how they're respecting you or not. And if you can suss out pretty easily whether or not that's performative based versus I think you're a beautiful soul in person and I just like being with you. And I can, because I love you so much, I can overlook all the other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. By
the way, I mean, that is, in a nutshell, more way that's the way Jesus treats us.
Yes.
When we come to him.
I agree.
I love you so much, even though you're a total screw up. I love you so much that I died for you. And if you will receive me, I'll just overlook everything that's wrong about you.
Oh, yeah. And that's a lot of the parallels that I found myself in when I was getting back into faith, because I was raised knowing about God. I wouldn't say it was necessarily shown to me, but I was raised on the foundation of, Jesus and God. And my mom was raised Pentecostal. And so with that, I would grow up a little bit more scared of God instead of, oh, God loves me. For me, it was more, I'm so worried I'm going to hell because I watched SpongeBob, or a secular show. It was more what you were saying. He loves us because of we are his. It's not just based off of, did you do well today? What's your performance? What are your works? And things like that.
That is true. I will expand on that just a little bit to say, I mean, it's the natural progression. Like, if you receive God and if you receive Christ and enter into his family and you become his, you're right. It's not performance-based. He loves you whether you perform well or don't perform well. Now, by the way, he wants you to perform and he wants you to perform well. That's the works-based. But I don't do the works to earn God's favor. You can never do enough works. You do the works now because you love him. It's just like loving your husband or loving your wife. I don't serve my wife to make her happy with me. I serve her because I love her.
Yeah.
And it works the same way. So you were brought up in the Pentecostal a world, more or less, or adjacent to it.
Yes.
On and off.
Yeah, I would say on and off. I remember earlier memories of going to church actually with my grandmother, but it was all in Spanish, so I didn't understand it. But I just remember being it's very small church, very homey, and you'd kind of just spend your whole day there. And you'd have, lunch, probably dinner. Everybody's together all the time. So I do have those memories of I really liked the family aspect, the being together all the time. And then I wouldn't say my mom was just kind of in and out. She would get really on fire for God, and she would get really involved in the church. And we ended up being more on the non-denominational side. So I went to a lot of churches, various churches. But yeah, she would get very involved, and then she would kind of just trickle away, pull away, and then be more so on it's just between me and God. I just need me and Jesus. And I would try to put an arm's length from her and the body, I would say, the body of, being a part of the church and everything.
Yeah. That's difficult, especially for kids, because it's confusing.
For sure.
And it doesn't give them that grounding. So, you want to, and look, I mean, I understand sometimes church can be difficult and for various reasons because it's filled with people.
Yeah.
And people sometimes can be problematic.
For sure.
But you want to be consistent there. And no, you don't have to go to church to be a Christian. I understand that. It is the organization that Jesus created. So, and I liken it this way. I remember an old pastor told me this once, in response to somebody that says, you don't have to go to church to be a Christian. That's true. I also don't have to go home to be married, but it probably helps the relationship.
For sure. For sure.
So how did you said you recently got baptized.
Yes.
So take me on that journey. I mean, you grew up in church on and off because of your mom's kind of hot and cold nature towards it.
Yeah.
But then, you've moved to South Carolina. So just kind of walk me through, how do you start going to church faithfully with Evan or with somebody else? Or how do you come to Christ, and tell me about that journey.
I would just like to backtrack for a second.
Yeah, clean it up.
Just to clarify, with my mom being on and off, when you're a kid growing up in a home where addiction is present, you just think that's normal and you don't really understand what's going on.
Right.
But you know something is up and something is off. And I realized my mom struggled with substance abuse and alcoholism through the whole journey of, being hot and cold with being at the church and then going back to her thing. So that's kind of what created
I see.
an even bigger confusion for me, because it would be one day go to church on Sunday, but then right afterwards I'm watching you, kind of throw yourself into this thing that makes you a whole nother person and you act completely differently. And then that confuses me. And then I'm like, so that kind of is what I would say caused the divide of me wanting anything to do with, God and Jesus for a little while.
Right.
And trust me, when I was a kid, I definitely wanted to believe that God loved me. But again, with the father figure not being there, and then my mom struggling the way she was struggling, and then me asking God, what is going on? And I just turned it to myself. I thought it was my fault. Thought, what is wrong with me to be, causing all this, in my family, or why did I end up in this family? And so there was a lot of moments of reaching out when there was a lot of things going on growing up that I felt were just unmet. And then I kind of just, as I got older, turned a little bit bitter, I would say, hardened to them, and then kind of just turned my back completely because, I'm like, my own parents weren't there, so why are you going to be there for me? So it was a very much looking back on it, I was just kind of a little hurt. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing, man. People get wrapped up in that stuff, and I mean, you're explaining it well, and you help people to understand why. But I think one of the things that people fail to recognize is basically we wind up blaming God for the failures of people.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault. It's the fault of sin, and it's the fault of bad choices that people make. It's like, it's like if my 20-year-old son acted a fool for whatever reason, somebody breathing down my neck about it, your son's doing, well, why are you barking at me? I mean, he's 20 years old. This is his fault. So I can't blame God for the failures of, my parents or whatever. They made choices that they ought to be accountable for. As I've said before, if you've been hurt by church, you didn't have a bad experience with church. You had a bad experience or you didn't have a bad experience with God. You had a bad experience with people. And being a Christian doesn't make you perfect.
No, yeah, for sure.
It's just a bunch of broken people together trying to do the best they can.
Completely agree. And that's something I realized as I got older. I love my mom. I have tons of compassion for her. I think she did the absolute best she could with what she had at the time, with the knowledge she had at the time. I think back, if I was in her situation, I look back and I'm like, I don't even know how I would have dealt with that or made it through that. So I look back on those times as nothing but, love for my mom.
Yeah.
And I completely understand.
How is your relationship with your mom today?
I would say it's significantly better. It was very tough. I would say completely disconnected when I was younger. I think me being her oldest daughter, she looked at me and probably saw a lot of parts of herself. And when she was going through these tough times, that's when we would butt heads. And that's kind of what I think ultimately would kind of divide us over time. So I would say for sure now has been, I would say, in the works of being way more reconciled. And I'm super excited because over time, I would love to have my family together. I love seeing my siblings. I love talking and getting to see who they've become and keeping up with my mom. I love family. I love every aspect of that.
Yeah, keep it tight. And if you can, I mean, I know it's not easy. Reconciliation when things have been hard is hard, but, you know, I'm old enough to have seen and learned that friends come and go, businesses come and go. At the end of it all, family is what you've got. And there will be a few friends, hopefully along the way, that become family and will be there for you when it's hard, but those are not easy to find. So, yeah. Is your mom local? Or
Yes, she is. She literally lives like 20 minutes away from me. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah. We get to talk.
Beating your mom up on the podcast.
No, I don't think so. It's because I still see her as she's my mom.
She's
like
your mom.
when you have a mom, no matter how estranged the relationship, you always look at them, you think they're the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And you love them. So I hope she takes this with love.
No, she should. I mean, there always has to be a level of respect for the parents. And like my parents lived 6 minutes that way.
Oh, awesome.
Which I'm so jazzed about, man. And I have a great relationship with my mom and dad. And I don't understand these people who, when their parents get old, that they put them in some home. And look, there are some circumstances in which I understand it, like if they're in really bad health and you don't have the skills, the medical skills to literally take care of them, that's one thing. But it's just like, it's just such a headache. And like, that's the person who for all those years put clothes on my back and a roof over my head and changed all those diapers and walked me through all my first heartbreak, my everything. They did everything for me, and I love them. And there is no way, like, as long as it is in my power to care for them, I mean, there's not a question there. And so, yeah, even if your mom or dad has done X, Y, Z, doesn't matter. If that relationship exists and you can make it even better, you absolutely should.
No, I agree. And I think that I've felt lost and broken and hopeless. And when you understand those things and you see it in your parents, I just have nothing but love for them. I would never want anybody to feel that way, let alone my parents. So I'm very grateful now. I feel like God has been able to heal that aspect of me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you in contact with your dad?
More recently, yes. And it has a lot to do with my husband. He's been very supportive of mending that relationship.
You go, sir. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's in the works. I wouldn't say it's as often as with my mom, but it's still often enough to where I know where he's at and what's going on.
That's got to be such a great feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I would love for it to be more in the future, and I think it will be. Yeah, hopefully.
That's great. That makes me happy for you. So we kind of got sidetracked because, and for understandable reasons, you kind of wanted to back up and clarify your mom's up and down.
Yes.
Which makes total sense. So what? And I understand why you said like watching this go on with your just with your dad, and then stepfathers who didn't last, abusive to your mom's addiction up and down in church. You get bitter, kind of walk away from God, get mad at him. You know, my parents were never there for me. Why are you gonna be any different? What happens to change that mindset? To change, actually, it's changing the heart.
Oh my
gosh,
not
the mind,
yes.
but it's the heart.
For sure.
What happens?
I like to call it just a massive humbling. Massive. Like
I love it.
It says, you know, in the Bible, like God is near to the brokenhearted.
Yes.
So I was at a point in life where I was brokenhearted, and I ran as long as I could on my own strength and taking care of myself. With my single mom, I always was very much like, you know, the boss lady. Like, I don't care. Like, I will take care of, I'll be the breadwinner. I will provide for myself. Very headstrong about that.
I'm woman, hear me roar.
Yes, yes. But I would say I just went through a series of things where I was just starting to be completely lost. I was in my young 20s. I was 18, 19, young 20s, and I didn't know I didn't know my purpose in life. I found myself just waiting tables and becoming really depressed and not knowing. I was just like living paycheck to paycheck. And I got into a series of car accidents in 1 year. Apparently, if you get into 4 or more car accidents in a year, you have to retake your driver's test. Did you know that?
Public service announcement to everyone listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. If you crash 4 times in a calendar year, you can take the test over.
Yeah. And I like to say that was God.
Were you at fault for all of them?
Yes. Yeah. There were just little fender benders, thank God. No, there were nothing serious. It was just enough to definitely get my attention and I think looking back, everything that was happening was pulling my attention to the present moment because I often lived disconnected from that because that was my mechanism. My safety mechanism was detaching. So my mind would be somewhere else and then I'm just here kind of doing whatever. But during those times, I found myself reaching out to God a little bit more and starting to ask questions and just kind of, I was obviously not full of a bunch of faith. I was just like grasping at straws. I was brokenhearted. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to give you a chance.
You don't have to be. Faith the size of a grain of mustard seed.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously I'm here today. So that is definitely a testament to that because I feel like those were moments of opportunity where he was giving me opportunities to reach out to him more and more. And then over time it was building and growing. And then it obviously landed me here. So he's in your point of view, looking back, God is orchestrating event. Like, here's the wild thing about it, man. I mean, oh my gosh, we have this viewpoint that we're trying to find him. Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works. He's trying to find you. Jesus said in Luke 19:10 that the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which is lost. He tells the parable, I'm sure you're familiar with it, of the shepherd who has 100 sheep. He's got 99 on the hill and one is out in the wilderness. He says, which of you will not leave the 99 and go find the one? And so while you and I, from our earthly point of view, are like, these things were happening, I'm reaching out to God, the biblical view is God is orchestrating things in my life to force me to reach out to him because he's seeking for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get, it's just, so, I mean, because it says, there is none, this is in Romans, is it Romans 30? There is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God. He seeks for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is orchestrating things in Juliette Pierce's life.
Yes.
That is, I mean, he's boxing you in.
Yep.
To where eventually the only thing you can face is him.
Yep.
So bring me to the culmination of that. Like, what did that look like?
So yeah, I would say, so all of these things were transpiring and then 2020 hits. That's when COVID happens. I was working 3 jobs at the time, and I lost all of them. And then my lease...
Because of COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because of COVID. And my lease was coming up.
Oh, my God.
And by then, my credit was terrible because I had obviously been not making great decisions in life. And then I really had nowhere to go. And I was just planning on kind of being homeless, like living in my car. I had my little dog at the time, of course, that I rescued. He was like my best friend. And at that time, I had actually met a regular from one of the serving jobs I had, and he was running a car shop, and he was selling these sheds. He just started selling these sheds out on the side, and he told me I could come live in his, like, one of his sheds And I had like ridiculously cheap rent, and I could stay there for as long as I needed to until I got kind of back on my feet. And just little context with this regular, when he first started coming, he was super annoying to me. I did not like him. But he, over time, kept coming in, got to know me and my story, and related with me a lot. He lost his dad at a young age, and he knew like the impact of growing up without a father. And then he also had a daughter similar age to me. So through that, he would give me little side jobs because he knew I was struggling with, money and life and all these things. So he offered me the shed, and I was like, okay, I will do that. And so I like packed up my little car, and I drove, and I stayed in the shed. And right around the same time, this was when me and my now husband were dating. He was wanting to leave his parents' home and move out, and he was about to live homeless. And I was like, just come live in the shed, which is, a nice little middle way of that. And so through that, when he came and moved in, and he basically told us we were getting married, and I was like, okay, cool. That's kind of during that dating period too, we started reading the Bible a little bit. He was already kind of on his faith journey a little bit farther along, and I was just getting back into it. So it was kind of the perfect timing for all of that to happen at once. And together we kind of built our faith back, and then I committed my life to Christ.
That's a beautiful story. I pastored for 12 years in Southern California. And so, man, anytime I have a guest that comes on the show and we get on Christianity, it excites me, just to see. By the way, the guy who offered you to live in his shed, is he a Christian by any chance?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. That is the Lord using his people to reach people.
I know.
And that's how it and then now it's your job to reach people, man. So you commit your life to Christ, and then baptism.
Yes.
So how does this go?
Yeah, that was in the fall. We actually decided like, hey, we should probably start looking for a church. And at the time, Evan was just starting to personal train. That's actually what drew me to him, because he was super passionate with, being a fighter, boxing, and he was really disciplined in that. And I really admired that, because at that time, like I said, I was just serving tables. I was aimless. I didn't know what I was doing, but there was this man who like knew what he was doing, knew where he wanted to go, and was super passionate about that. And
a man that had structure.
Yeah, and I admired that a lot, because we had completely opposite schedules. I was never into health and fitness or any of the sort until I met him. So anyways, we were looking for a church, and one of his clients had recommended visiting his church. And we were like, okay, cool. We will go visit that one. It was the first one we visited. And after the service, the pastor came up to us and started talking to us. And he heard that Evan was a boxer. And he was saying, oh, the only boxer I know is this man named Barry Butler. And Evan's face lit up. And I already knew, I was like, oh, this is our church now. We're stuck here forever. Because Barry Butler is actually the man who got Evan into boxing, and who he sees as like his second father, like a father figure, all these things. So, and it was a really good church. It was, it felt very comfortable. The pastor didn't have to go up to us or anything like that. He could just tell we were newer. And we kept going to the services there. And then there was one altar call one day where I literally felt like I could not ignore. I felt like my heart was about to beat out of my chest, and I knew it was time to, give my life to God and then sign up for the baptism. So I signed up for the next baptism that was available, which was that August. I think we started going there in the summer. So it was quick. It was, move into the shed, start going to church, get baptized, give my life to Christ, get baptized. And then it literally just sent us like on a trajectory that's just been a crazy wild ride since then.
That's awesome, man. What a beautiful story of I mean, it's the whole arc, man. It is born into a now we are all born into a broken world in general, but like you're born into a just a broken home.
Yeah.
You know, where nothing makes sense, where everything's confused, where there's no guide rails, there's figures that should be there for various reasons are not there. You're upset at God. You're working pointless jobs that have no future in them. You don't know what you're going to do. Now COVID hits. I'm broke. I'm homeless.
Yep.
I've got nowhere to go. I'm going to go in this shed and I don't know, I'm going to eat and then I'm probably going to be dead in 3 weeks or whatever it is. And God brings you to this point to where you don't have anything else to do except for trust him.
Yeah.
And then you do, and now it's I don't know, it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's crazy. And that's what's so cool about I feel like my story, because there's nothing I can point to pre-baptism that I did anything. Like that version of me is dead and gone, and ever since then I like to use my cool resume of achievements, of proof, of the testimony of what God has done in my life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the biggest reason why I'm doing all that I do, and it's because he's changed me so much. He's brought me into places that were the absolute opposite of what I ever wanted to do or dreamed of doing. Like I said, I was super shy. I didn't grow up healthy with, I grew up on free lunches at school. I didn't know the first thing about anything. But it's cool because you can go back and look at your life and see where God was there, where he actually was kind of setting the stage to the point of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I know I mentioned the Boys and Girls Club,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I first moved to South Carolina. I moved to this school. Mind you, this was like my first time in South Carolina, and we were kind of in the country, is what I like to say, in Spartanburg somewhere. So I didn't know sweet tea and grits were a thing.
That's such a beautiful thing.
That was a very big change for me.
You like grits?
I do, actually. I just had some the other day.
Are they, like, do you not eat them much?
Not much. Like I said, since
The health thing for everything going on, grits are not the best.
Not the best. They probably could be fine. Cream of rice is kind of similar, I would say, to grits.
I've never had cream of rice.
Oh.
Doesn't sound anything exciting.
No, I think grits are cooler for sure.
Grits, bacon, and eggs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, grits and sweet tea.
Yeah, and everybody was so nice here. Everybody says, "Hey, how are you doing?" Florida is the north of the South. Everybody's cold and oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, I spent almost 20 years in Southern California, so I understand the difference between and of course I'm a Texas man, grew up in Texas. So I understand the difference in the cultures, but I mean, Florida's the South, and so I would presume that they are.
Well, there is a saying that Florida is the north of the South.
Really?
A lot of people from up north moved to Florida.
Okay.
And my mom was born in Chicago, and my dad was actually from New York. So
Florida does not. I mean, obviously, we're not speaking for all of Florida,
yes,
but
correct.
In general, in your experience, Florida is not as friendly.
No.
They don't have that southern vibe like is
No,
here.
no. I would say when I first moved here, the biggest thing was everybody moves slower here. Not in a bad way. It's just a slower pace of life. Or maybe just the town I moved to. I was just used to a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of going on. And so when I moved, to Spartanburg, it was much slower. I hadn't really grown up in a neighborhood before. Now that I think about it, I think I just grew up in apartments,
Yeah.
stacked on top of people. So it was really big change of pace. And then going into a school, I was the minority again because we grew up in lower income. But it was actually a blessing because I had to go into the after school program because my mom would work all day and she couldn't, get us from school right away or afterwards. So I was put into the Boys and Girls Club. And that's where I met the director. Her name was Miss Nicole. I'll never forget her. But she literally, when I think of her, I just think of super nurturing, loving. with memories, I have more of like a feeling towards them because some of my memories are kind of splotchy and all over the place. But when I think of the Boys and Girls Club, it's like warm, nurturing, like really set some seeds inside of me that I didn't even think were there.
Is what you needed.
Oh, yeah.
Like what was missing.
For sure. And she and a couple of the people who work there encouraged me to like join the step team. Which was very much out of my comfort zone. And I was like the only white girl on the step team, which was really funny at the time. And like do these dance battles. And what else did I do? I actually did my first pageant through them. I wouldn't say it's not anything like your typical pageant. It was literally just put your favorite dress on and then go out there and say your name and your favorite color. And then that was all. But even though it was a very short-lived time, I look back on it and I'm like, oh, those were the seeds that were planted into what I do now and how I go on stage now, which is really cool. It's a really cool, like, full circle moment.
So being in the Boys and Girls Club,
yes,
that's what it's called, and then just kind of that pageantry adjacent.
Yes.
So was that like that's like the gateway for you into the pageant world?
Yes, very, very small. I think it was the first time I put myself out there. For me, going on stage was being very vulnerable. And since I was painfully shy, insecure, all these things, I had this very loving figure telling me it's okay to like be myself and put that out there and let people see it. And it felt like she saw me, like the Juliette that's inside, not the Juliette shell that I would put on in front of everybody.
Sure.
So I would say that's definitely what kind of helped to facilitate that. And I honestly didn't even realize that until very recently. And I would say the pageantry has been a really great vehicle for helping me develop as a woman in general. I didn't really have a lot of role models or anything. I had no idea. Like I said, like kind of a blank slate. Like I don't know who to look up to, what I look up to, or how to be. And I felt like pageantry was a very great way for me to help learn that and now also hopefully become a role model for somebody else.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of things going on. You've got the pageantry.
Yes.
But you've also got bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Which one comes first in your timeline?
It was actually the pageantry, but before that was powerlifting. That was like the first ever real competition I ever did and entered into and did. Okay,
so in 2022, you break 4 South Carolina state records.
Yes.
In powerlifting, which, I mean, that's pretty sweet. And that's a pretty serious leap for somebody who's described herself as shy and insecure.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up. So how does fitness and powerlifting become part of your life?
Yeah. So like I said, until I met Evan, his dad has owned Britt's Brothers Gym for the last like 30 years, since 1994.
Wait a minute.
He's my father-in-law, Ollie.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know this. All right, my world's all like Spider-Man web interconnected, because last Sunday I just dropped the episode with Jake Henderson.
Oh, really?
From Carolina Barbell Club.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in his club.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I think Josiah is he in the club too?
Yep. He's been around the gym for a while.
And I have another friend of mine who works out over there, Keith Bowling, but he's not part of, Keith? Yeah. I mean, he's a small guy. Yeah. He's a small, diminutive kind of, yeah, Keith, I'm talking about you. Yeah, but he works out, I think, at Britt's. And no, I don't think I've ever met Ollie, and I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
So, wait, Ollie
is his father.
Is your dad?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Well, eventually we'll get Ollie on the podcast.
Yeah,
Is he a cigar guy?
Mm-hmm. You for sure should have him on sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to space him out, though. I can't have, like, I can't have 4 out of the next 6 guests all be like gym people. You got to space that stuff out. Okay, well, there's a connection. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you meet Evan. and obviously there's the connection, Brits Brothers, Ollie, all that stuff. So, yeah, walk me through that, how it becomes part of your thing and you wind up in powerlifting competitions.
I know. So yeah, during the time where I was jobless and had nothing else to do, there was a really awesome powerlifting instructor at Brits, and his name was Jeff. And Evan was pushing, like giving me the nudge, like, I really think you should try powerlifting. I think you would like it. And previously he had tried to get me into other fitness endeavors that I just kind of shut down. I was just like, no, not for me. Like I tried and I was like, no. And so he ended up passing away unexpectedly, and that kind of impacted the gym very significantly, Evan very significantly, and I also got to know him, so it impacted me a lot too. And then from there, I decided, like, okay, I'm going to try out to powerlift. And from him passing, there is another really awesome elite powerlifter that kind of stepped up and started training people. His name was Theodore. And so I signed up to start training with him. And at first, the first half was me kind of getting upset and crying from how hard it was. It was incredibly hard with powerlifting. I had to build a base because I had nothing to work with. So it was incredibly frustrating, but it was revealing to me how not only physically weak I was, but how mentally weak I was too. And so I didn't like that. I didn't like exposing myself, and then let alone being in a really cool gym where there's really elite level lifters. And there was also a woman who lifted there too. Her name is Chelsea. And she was like the first person I was like, yes, I want to be like her. She looked amazing, but also the way she carried herself, there was just something about her I looked up to a lot, and she was powerlifting. So after a while, I started, committing to the powerlifting, and I would show up and train. And then we started looking at the state numbers because my trainer at the time was like, hey, you're lifting kind of heavy for your size. And I'm like, really? Like, I didn't think anything of it. And then I ended up looking at the numbers. I was like, oh, wait, I'm like repping this in the gym right now. Like, this is kind of cool. I think I might want to compete. And another thing that powerlifting gave me was confidence, because before that, I saw myself as like a nothing. Like, I had not accomplished anything in life. And not only was I discovering how physically weak I was, mentally weak I was, I just didn't think I had anything to offer anything. So it was a really cool thing when I realized, like, oh, wait, like, I can actually have impressive numbers. And then I went to compete. I was super scared of that because, again, I have to go in front of a bunch of people. But then after that and breaking the state records, that just completely lit a fire in me. And I was like, wait a second, everything I've been afraid to do, I'm just going to try to start doing. And that kind of is what set the stage for where I'm at now today. And so from the powerlifting thing, almost immediately, I had a friend who was like, Juliette, you need to sign up for this pageant. And she was the current Miss South Carolina Earth. And it was in the Earth system. So she was like, Juliette, you should really do this. And just coming off of the powerlifting thing, I'm like, okay, yes. Normally, back in the day, I would have said absolutely not.
All it takes is one win to unlock your mindset that I can do whatever the heck I want to do. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is. And I think if there's somebody listening to this podcast who feels right now what you just said about yourself, that I'm just here and I really don't have anything to offer anybody, that is so untrue.
Yeah.
You just don't know it.
Yeah, you just haven't found it yet.
You are a beautiful person and a beautiful, and I don't mean you, of course you are, but I just, to the general you, whoever's listening, like, as a person, man, you're a person, you're valuable, you've got talents in there. You need somebody to love you and give you a shot, and you can do it. You just, I don't know, get excited, get a win, and then, man, it is going to unlock your creativity and your passion and your confidence that you can accomplish.
Yeah, for sure. And then even though it was a big leap from powerlifting to pageantry, that was still like, just from having the encouragement and the confidence built up from that, I knew, okay, I'm going to do this even though I'm scared, because I know that even when I'm scared, like, I know God's going to show up. He showed up for me already. Now I'm pointing to all these scenarios where I know he was there and showed up for me. So why wouldn't he show up for me here too? And
he always shows up.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, he's always there. He always shows up. You may not. And here's the thing I think we should keep in mind. You may not see it. You may not necessarily feel like he's showing up, but I guarantee you it's always easier to see where God has been in hindsight. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's hard to see him in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So in 2022, you break 4 South Carolina state records in powerlifting. What were those?
It was in the squat. I squatted about 185 pounds. Mind you, my body weight class was 114 pounds. And then my deadlift was about 265. And then my bench, I want to say, was anywhere from 110 to 112. And then the totals.
Yeah.
The total was about 750 or so, maybe a little bit more.
So are you still in the same weight class, or have you gone up just a little bit?
I would probably still compete in the same weight class. I haven't competed officially since then.
Oh, okay. Do your records still stand?
I don't know. I haven't checked them. But if they don't, I have to go back and reset the standard, I
so
guess.
That was going to ask, that was going to be my next question, where you stood today in powerlifting. You haven't competed, though, since 22.
No. And honestly, I thought that was where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to powerlift. This is my thing. But then I think God had other plans. I think that was just the beginning. And that's just one aspect of a multi-aspect thing that I'm meant to do. It's not just through the lifting and the having confidence for things. I think he's pushing me for further pushing. Again, I think he's really been stretching me this year to come out with my story, my testimony, because I think that could be the most helpful for people.
Yeah. I mean, that is but because look, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, when I say the end of the day, I mean the end of somebody's life, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing really, not much matters except for, do you know Christ or don't you? I mean, it doesn't matter if you hold, all the powerlifting records, if you ran a great business, if you ran a crummy business. Mm-hmm. Like, none of that matters. So your faith testimony is what is going to help people. So keep telling that story. So how do you segue from bodylifting into the world of pageantry?
So when I entered in pageantry, again, I had a friend who had already been doing some of it. So she was very, very helpful and kind of like coached me the way through. I even had I think it was one of the wives of a husband that Evan knew, who had actually ran pageants herself. And she reached out, and it was actually such a God thing, because pageantry is not cheap at all. And we're still kind of, working on the financial aspect of things. But an hour with a pageant coach could be like $80 to $100 an hour or something along the lines. And I remember she reached out to me and she wanted to help me. And I met with her, and I remember it was like for almost 3 hours. She just gave me her time, and I was calling Evan. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for her. Like, I was really stressed out about it. And by the end of it, she was just like, you don't owe me anything. I'm just here to help you with this. And I really think that was such a God thing. Like, he sent her for me and helped me. And we still have a great relationship to this day. And it's literally all these people that I feel like he's sprinkled in my life through the process that also not only helped me, but also give me the nod of like, this is where you're supposed to be headed on this path. So it was really nice having that reassurance too. And so in a lot of ways, I was helped and prepped, and I got to meet a lot of really nice people throughout the whole process of getting ready for the pageant as well, even though I still felt, unqualified or, inequipped to show up and be there. But I'm very happy I did it, because I wouldn't have done it. And I'm very happy I did it in the Mrs. division, because I feel like that's a really big part of the whole reason why I'm a part of it in here, is just, being married and with being faith-centered.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing when God starts opening doors and sending you people your way who just strictly, like, they're not after your money. They just want to help because they believe in you and they believe in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That it's so encouraging, and it helps kindle that fire. And eventually, you know, we use a phrase in our world, like, you get to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so in the future, like, all these people who have helped you get where you are, you in turn get to help other people.
Oh, yeah.
Or even turn around and help the people that helped you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sunday Afternoon Smokes is, I feel like, in a really good position in going places. And I shared a little bit about what I'm getting ready to do in the house. And, you know, in probably the next 3 weeks, Sunday Afternoon Smokes will be going to video in a really cool setting. But man, I told y'all, I mean, work begins today after we wrap up. I have a concept image for the lounge, and I've ordered all the pieces to make it happen. And I've got people who I've interviewed on this podcast and future guests who are excited, and they already want to partner with me. They're like, I want to be a partner here. I want to be a partner here. I want to be a partner here. And it's not me giving them money to do this. They believe in the show. They believe in what I'm creating, and they just want to join with me in it and be part of it.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know what it is. It's number one, it's a blessing, but it's just so, like you said, it's affirming in such a way that, like, okay, I think this is right. And they're just going to keep pushing towards this direction. And God will open doors and he will close some.
Yep.
And that's fine. But that's what you said earlier about just, like, letting him have the keys.
Yeah.
And you're just along for the ride.
For sure. Because if it were up to me, I would not be powerlifting. I would not be pageantry. I wouldn't be bodybuilding. I wouldn't be married. All these things.
Okay, well, if it were up to you, where would you be today?
Oh, I don't even know if I would be here, honestly. It's very sad because I look at some of the friends I had during those periods, and they're not alive anymore. They're not here anymore.
Wow.
And it breaks my heart because I wish, you know, sometimes it's hard to look back and be like, okay, why didn't I end up with them in that? And I probably would have. I easily could have. And I wish I was how I am now to be able to help them. And that's kind of part of my whole big mission now is, like, I know there's a lot of girls and women who have gone through what I've gone through, and I've been able to come out on the other side in a sense, and I want to give them the hope that I didn't have or find at the time. And I know a big part of that is just being vulnerable and sharing my story, which does not come naturally to me.
Well, I couldn't tell. You're doing great.
But again, it's just trying to be obedient to where God is leading me next.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I could have been a really cool power lifter, and I'm sure that would have been an amazing time. But I just had a sense of God's pulling me over to this pageantry thing. And I'm going to do it. And I'm terrified, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm. That's bravery. I mean, people, I think, you know, bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is being afraid and then doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the bravery part. And like you said, if you feel like God is leading you to it, even if you're terrified of it, just do it anyway and trust him for the results.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, I think, you know, bodybuilding and pageantry, while they're not the same, they share a lot of aspects. You know, there's a lot of, obviously you're on stage, you're in front of a bunch of people. There's a lot of prep work that goes into everything. Excuse me. So how many pageants have you done?
Only this last one was my third one. 3.
Okay.
So I did my state pageant, was my first pageant ever, and then I did nationals, and then placed top 15 in nationals. Really
top
cool.
15 out of how many?
Out of all the states.
Oh, no, okay, top 15 out of 50.
Yeah.
Duh. Hello.
No, you're good.
Come on. That's really good.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. And then literally a week ago now, I just did the state pageant and placed third runner-up, which I think is still amazing.
Yeah, third place for Mrs. South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. And the women who were there, I think they all deserve to be there. They all
Sure.
deserve to wear the crown. And I left very much being like, okay, well, I'm still Mrs. Greenville, so
Sure.
I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just going to continue on what I've been doing.
So how many ladies are trying to get like Mrs. South Carolina?
I believe there were 11 or 12.
3 out of 12. That's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not anything to hang your head about. I mean, obviously the
no.
goal is I want to win, but you know, like kind of what Jake said in the episode, like if I give everything I've got, if I pay attention to my training, if I lift well, if I sleep well, if I put in all the effort and I go into competition and I know that I've put 100%, I've left everything on the field and I don't win, that's fine. There's nothing for me to be ashamed of. But if I don't give it my all and I don't finish well, then that's on me.
Totally agree. And I would say I bring that into pageantry. I bring that into bodybuilding, because with bodybuilding, your work speaks for itself. You don't have to speak at all. Your body speaks for yourself. So whenever you had that extra little snack that you weren't supposed to have, you know that. Nobody else will know that, but you and God know that. And going into a competition that you signed up for, I'm very much on the side of the spirit of excellence. So anything I pursue, and if I call myself, a child of God going into it, because I love God, I'm going to pursue it with excellence.
Right.
And I'm not going to look back and say I cheated here or there.
Right.
And that's something that I'm being held accountable for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you certainly will be held accountable for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what does pageantry preparation look like, practically speaking?
I would say, well, the cool thing about this system, the directors, is actually a husband and wife, and they've been doing it for many, many years now. And that was an aspect that drew me to the system, but they hosted workshops. So before I even signed up, they had a workshop that was, I think, about an hour or so away. And I just signed up for it and I went, and they literally take you through mock interviews. They give you a lowdown of everything, what to expect, how it's going to go, and they do their best to prep you. And that was actually kind of different from the last system I was a part of. And it felt very much like family. They kind of like adopt you into it. And so going into this one, that's why I felt nothing but happiness for the winner, because I think she's a great representative of the state. And that's all we really want. We want the best of the best to represent the state and represent married women. And I think the women who won are really great examples of that. And doing appearances, just kind of getting out there and getting to know the other contestants. It's very much like a sisterhood, family, like connecting all at the same time. It's not just like cutthroat pageantry. Like, this is my, what are they called? Opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it as like opponents. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I see these women as like my sisters, my friends. Like, we're all on the same team. We're all here to help each other and bring each other up, bring the best out of each other.
Do the others see it do they see it that way?
I would say
do your opponents see it that way?
I would say the majority of them do. The majority of them do, for sure. I've definitely ran into people not of that mind before, but this go round, I literally have left nothing but love for this system. I plan on doing it again in the future. And the necklace I'm wearing right now is a South Carolina necklace. This was actually from the one who ended up winning Mrs. South Carolina.
Oh, that was sweet of her.
Yeah, it's really cool. And she was super sweet. When I met her, I told Evan, I was like, oh, she's definitely up there. She's just sweet. She went out of her way to talk to me, make me feel included. And that's all you really want. You really want to be seen for you. And she did a really great job of doing that.
Yeah. So what what is pageant day like? I mean, it's game day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So walk me through it from start to end. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
have no idea.
Okay. So it actually starts the day before.
Okay.
And so this time, the host hotel was in North Carolina. So they do.
Wait, hang on. Time out. Or what competition are we talking about?
Pageantry.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I asked
I'm
about
sorry.
pageantry in general, I suppose. What are you talking about? That was North Carolina.
Oh, I was just saying with the show weekend, how it went this past weekend, basically, which it tends to follow the same format. So you show up kind of a day before, you have orientation, so you sign in, orientation day, you sit down, but you still dress up. You have to wear your sash, you got the hair, the makeup, the attire. Do you have a question?
Yeah, hang on. I'm still trying to suss out.
Oh.
I'm still trying to understand where we're at. So you had something this last weekend?
The state pageant.
Okay, so this
the weekend before last. Sorry, it was 2 weekends ago.
That's fine. State. So this was for Mrs. South Carolina.
Yes.
Why is it held in North Carolina?
Okay, my bad.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
So they're in charge of the Carolinas, which is North and South.
This husband and wife team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we're connecting the dots.
Yeah, my bad. So this go around, it was in North Carolina. That's where the pageant was held for North and South.
Okay.
So that's really cool because I'm not only meeting women within my state, it's also within North.
Okay.
As well.
So all you ladies show up at the hotel.
Yep.
You go through registration, but you've got to be dressed up. You're wearing your sash.
Yep.
You go into the room for orientation. Everybody's gathered, and then
they give you kind of the lowdown of what the order of events are going to be, and then I'm about to go over the order of events with you right after.
Yeah.
So that's probably, and then we have a gift exchange. So that's where I got this very sweet necklace, and it's kind of just giving a piece that's personalized to you, but for somebody else. So it's just like a nice little thoughtful gift to give somebody. And then that's usually about an hour or so. And you take pictures together. And then we leave. And then we had a cocktail event to go to later that night.
I could do that.
Yeah. It's
cocktail
a nice
events. Let's go.
Yeah. It was
you need cigars?
Yeah.
Come on.
Just like that. Honestly, that would actually be like a fun event.
Well, remember me.
I will, for sure. And then, so yeah, we went to the orientation, signed in, got all the information for the show. And then we had the cocktail event that followed a couple hours later, but it's themed. So we had another outfit. By the way,
how many times you ladies change outfits in a day?
Every event that I'm about to list, and they might not sound like an event, we have an outfit for it. So everything on the schedule, you have an outfit for.
Wow.
Okay. So, and that's full hair, full makeup, all the works. I mean,
you ladies are in chairs all the time, and the hair done, the makeup done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been through that once. I was a contestant on season 2, episode 1, I think it was, or episode 2 of what is that game show? The 1% Club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can find it on Hulu. I'm on it.
Have to look at.
So I went down to Atlanta. I got selected. It's a whole process, the self-tape video, show us your skills, show us your talent, make yourself exciting, make you people don't understand getting on a game show is like it, and this is national. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm competing against everybody in the United States that wanted to be on the show, and there's 100 seats. And so they called me and they're like, hey, we really like your attitude and your vibe and everything's going on. I'm sure this beard helps. You know what I mean?
It's a very well-kept beard.
It's pretty unmistakable. Yeah, thank you. But it's like, I went in there and they're looking at me. They're like, okay, we need to do a couple things. Would you go sit down in the makeup chair? And I'm like, wow, this is cool. So for the first time, I'm sitting in this chair in front of this vanity and all the white bulbs are around it and the lady's doing her thing. And I'm like, all right. So that's like your life. When it comes to pageants.
Yeah, for pageant weekend.
Yeah.
Or events.
Sure.
So I would say, because obviously I'm in the gym, so half of the time it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But so yeah, the cocktail event, which is kind of just a last hurrah before the show the next day. We get to meet with the current queens, and they get to have their farewell kind of sayings and very sweet sentiments and things that they've learned and gone through during their reign for the last year. And, it's, just getting to know the other contestants more, and the directors are there. So it's just a cool time to like commune together and then kind of set the night for the next day.
Yeah.
And so that ends. Then the next morning, we have to be ready to go at the event 15 minutes early to get into the dressing rooms. So that's at 8 a.m., which is not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Sorry? Oh, yeah. I did do my own makeup this time and my hair. So I was up actually at 4 to get ready for the 8 a.m. getting into the dressing room.
Yeah.
So
is that just because you're super particular about your makeup and hair, or do you not have a makeup person, or is that a financial issue? Or?
I would say it's probably a mix. I had just gotten done competing at the Arnold, and that was very costly. And so going into this one, I've always enjoyed doing my makeup. And so I was just like, I really wanted to show up at this pageant like 100% me, 100% like Juliette, all the way from the hair to the makeup to the clothes, all of it. Because when you get into the pageant world, there's a very particular pageant look that you can adopt if you want to, but it's not a chance to really sometimes show who you are as a person. So that was like my whole goal going into this pageant. And so, yeah, that's why I ended up choosing, to do my own hair and makeup. And so that required me to wake up extra early, but it was fine. And then, I showed up with all my outfits for the day, all my shoes, accessories, my makeup, all the things.
Are you the pack mule?
Yes, my husband carries everything.
How many bags are we talking here?
Big. 4 big.
4 very large bags.
4, yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, he's awesome. Awesome over here. And so
it's just part of your weight training, right?
Yeah. So
you're in the room for 8 a.m. That's competition 1, or that's hair and makeup.
No, we're just getting all our things into the dressing room and then immediately going into rehearsals.
Okay.
Because we have rehearsals to get ready for the night show, which starts at 5 p.m. But once we are at the venue, we are not allowed to leave. So I had to make sure I had absolutely everything with nothing left. And I knew we were doing rehearsals. They take pictures for everything. So that's why I had to make sure my hair and makeup were already good to go, because I needed to look good in the rehearsal pictures. And that had its own outfit too. The rehearsal. Yes. I had an outfit picked out for that one. And so we run through rehearsals. I believe rehearsals about 2 to 3 hours. And then we practice our opening number. Opening number is basically like it sounds, opening, just starting the show. You practice the walking patterns. And then you have swimwear that we had to walk out in. And then we also had evening. Thank God we didn't have a talent. Sometimes they will make you do talents, but
the talent portion.
Yeah, this one you didn't have to do a talent, but we did have to do this.
What would you do for talent portion? Powerlift?
I know, that's what I would like to do, but it's extremely hard to get, hundreds of pounds on a stage very fast.
Would that be weird?
No, actually, I don't think it would be. You would be surprised with the talents that women have going into these pageants. They're very vast. Very vast and impressive and cool. I've seen someone do like taekwondo before as a talent from another pageant before.
Sure, yeah.
So, but it would be weird with me trying to set up like a deadlift platform or something for my talent.
That'd be difficult.
Yeah, so rehearsals. And then after that, I believe that's when you can get your hair and makeup ready. But then you have to get ready for interview. An interview is, again, like I said, you have 4 minutes, and they have sometimes anywhere from 3 to 5 judges, and you have to know how to stand, in the chair, like behind the chair. You have to know how to sit in the chair. There's a lot of etiquette involved with the interview portion, and there's an outfit for that as well. And they do score if it's Mrs. Appropriate. So it can't just be whatever. It has to be appropriate for the Mrs.
And obviously,
category.
This is different for the Miss.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For the misses, I would say just a little bit more modest, probably more conservative overall. But I would say generally, yeah, for the misses, we're there to be, the representative of married women in America. So what does that look like? And what does that look like for South Carolina? What does that look like for North Carolina?
Yeah.
So, and it was cool because, again, I got to pick all my outfits. And so I got to wear this really pretty dress that I thought showed me the best in a dress, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And I feel like people are really good with interview portions, being able to pick up on authenticity. And that's what I really wanted to have going into that. And then, so after interviews, then you take pictures because you have to take pictures in your interview. And then you start to get ready, I believe, for, we had a sponsor photo shoot. So there's an outfit for that. And then you run back and you get ready in your swimwear for opening number. And then the show, but before you know it, it's showtime. That whole day goes by extremely quick. And so from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. when the show starts, it's go, go, go.
Is there even a lunch? Are you guys?
There is a grab and go lunch. They did provide lunch. It was like a chicken salad. And I brought tons of snacks because obviously bodybuilder, I need my snacks. And it was a great time. We brought speakers in the back dressing room, played some music, laughed, and like got to know each other better. And I would say in those moments, like that's where I got to really connect, with people. Mm-hmm. And then the show happened.
Push that mic out just a smidge. There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I just want to make sure we're not talking like
gotcha
over. Man, that sounds like a wild day.
Oh yeah, it's a long day, but it's, again, I think it's fruitful. It's a lot of really cool moments.
Yeah. Quick question. You said at orientation you get to meet the reigning queens and get to chat with them, and they pass on the tidbits of wisdom and insight.
Yeah.
But is it for reigning queens, I mean, it's just one and done. You don't get to try and retain your title or compete again, or how does that work?
So they'll pass on their crown, and then if they want to come back, I believe in later years they can.
But you can't.
You can't just step in and be like, I'm the queen again.
No. What I'm saying is, let's just pretend that Juliette's the reigning queen, and then the next competition is coming to crown the new queen for the following year. Can you compete in that and try and win the title again and be like 2 years consecutive?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you can come back after.
Yeah.
And try and capture it again.
And
okay.
A lot of the queens stay within the system a lot of the time. So the former reigning Mrs. South Carolina, Julie Holmes, is now a helping hand in the Mrs. organization for the Carolinas.
I see.
Yeah. So like I said, when it's a family, like there's so many opportunities you get to have. They still get to go to appearances, and they still get to be a part of everything. There's no, it really doesn't come down to, the title aspect, which they stress a lot. They stress a lot. It's not about just the title. It's about, the growth and the timing of it, because they're also people of faith, which I was very happy to find out. I had no idea going in, but it was really cool to get to be a part of that and see the values behind it. And it's not just chasing some, prestigious state title and, there's no fighting over it.
Yeah.
It's we're all here. We all deserve this. And whoever's time it is to be the Mrs. South Carolina, that's their time.
Sure. But you currently hold, as we said, the title newly minted. I mean, this is just a few weeks ago. Mrs. Greenville America.
Yes.
So what is Mrs. Greenville America, and what does it mean to you to hold that position?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, I would have to say it's, to me, the biggest thank you I could give back to my community, because it allows me, I would say, the pageant space and a crown like Mrs. Greenville. Obviously, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. It gives you a foot in the door to places that you normally wouldn't have had before. And I feel like now with this title, I get to be a bridge for people who are doing really cool things, like with nonprofit organizations and things with my gym as well that me and my husband just opened in January. There's a lot of things I'm being called to, and without the Mrs. Greenville title, I would not be able to accomplish them. So I see it as a way of not only a cool, like, it is very honoring to be the Mrs. Greenville 2026.
Sure.
But it's also a way to elevate a lot of the other people in my community who have helped me and give them a spot to have a voice too, and to hopefully elevate other people who need that help as well.
Yeah. Well, I feel super honored and blessed to give. I didn't even know, you know. I mean, I knew you were Mrs. Greenville America. I just didn't know how recent it was. Maybe you said it in the former, and I've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But to have you, like, after recently, you know, winning this crown, to be your first full-fledged interview and getting out like your whole story.
Yep.
That's super cool. And so I hope like everybody in the upstate listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
And gets to hear that. So how many ladies were you competing against for this honor?
It's hard to say. So basically what you do when you get a local title is you have to send in an application. So I had to fill out an application form, and it's basically listing out why do you want to be, you know, part of this. And then I send in a picture of myself as well. And then they either approve it or disapprove it. And so I just had to send an application, and then they approved it. And then I was able to pick my title, which was Greenville. I wanted to, you know, rep my city. And, you know, I've grown as a woman here. I got saved here, and I just, you know.
So, but there's who knows how many ladies try to get that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's a Mrs. Fort Mill. There's a Mrs. Columbia, Mrs. Greater Columbia. There's many of us across the state.
So I think you probably have already answered the question here and there, but I'll ask it again. And you probably did. But like, in your view, what is the mission behind Mrs. Greenville?
The mission would be just what the Bible says, is just loving others as I love myself, and treating others. Like, all I'm really trying to do here is use my testimony as a way to help other people. Yeah. And I wouldn't have the title that I have without literally everything we just talked about. And again, raising awareness for these organizations and groups that I have come along to know from my title. So recently I was able to help with an event. It was called the Jasmine Roads, and they deal, I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they help with women who have been involved in like addiction and sex trafficking and things like that.
Sounds like people I should have on this show.
Yeah, they're amazing organization.
Jasmine Roads?
Jasmine Roads, yeah. And
like ROADS?
Yes. And they actually have a little kitchen on Augusta Road. So, and they employ the graduates from that program over there as well. So it's also near and dear to me, obviously, from my story. And then also going back in 5th grade, I had a very short stint of my aunt ran a teen challenge center for girls who were troubled, and my mom actually worked there for a little bit. So I had a stint of being raised around these girls who had issues with, you know, anything from self-harm to addiction issues or sexual abuse or anything like that. So when they needed volunteers for that, I was able to sign up for it and use my title to help bring more attention to it. Yeah. So that's really the heart of what I'm trying to do. I really want to bring attention to like really good causes of people who are already doing amazing things.
Right off the top of my head, I know some people that I should connect you with. People that I've interviewed. There's a lady named Martine Helu Allen. She runs an organization called Rise Prevention. I don't know if you've heard of them. And basically, they are in the schools. They're going to be in Wren High School and some other places. It's basically their point of view is the best way to break addiction in children is to stop it before it happens,
Mhm.
never to let it develop in the first
Yeah.
place. And so, they're in the schools raising awareness for all kinds of things. And then my friend James Capps of Moultrie Leather Goods, he and his wife a couple years ago lost their oldest son to fentanyl. And so they
Mhm.
started a foundation called Parents Against Fentanyl, and they're in the schools and they're raising
Yeah.
awareness. And in fact, they just partnered with Rise Prevention to do some stuff. I was talking with James this morning, but those are two great causes that I'm sure you could help
No, for sure.
Lynn.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking to do.
I'll connect you with them.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
And then again, with the gym my husband and I just opened, it's a nonprofit private training gym. So that's another big thing. We're trying to use our facility to help our community because we just opened up on the end of Augusta Road, which we like to call is like kind of the up and coming. So
Heard.
yeah, and it's there to provide training to people who can't afford it, or also we provide training to first responders, veterans, active duty service members, and we've been blessed with that space, so we're trying to also use it to bless other people with. We definitely believe in we are blessed to also be a blessing to others. Like you said earlier, give it back in that way. So again, just using that title to help spread that as well.
Sure. So you said you and your husband just opened Area 51 Gym at the end of Augusta Road. And that's like you said, man, since your commitment to give your life to Christ and the first step of obedience is baptism, things are really kind of taking off. I mean, from everything we said to brokenness, homelessness, living in a 250 square foot shed, to breaking records in the bodybuilding world, placing really well in Mrs. South Carolina, getting the title of Mrs. Greenville America, to opening a gym. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a huge step. Congrats on all that stuff,
Thank you.
by the way. So it's called Area 51 Gym.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always curious about why people name things,
Yeah.
what they do. So, I mean, Area 51, it's Roswell, New
Mhm.
Mexico, aliens, all that jazz. So, what's the significance to you behind Area 51?
Yeah. So the gym is actually in partnership with Redemption MMA, which is literally right down the street from where Evan and I have bought our house from. And that's the reason why we originally moved too. His name is Nathaniel Debtula, and he is actually Evan's coach, but also Evan's been the boxing instructor out of Redemption, and he is a veteran. So with all that said, he was actually the one to come up with Area 51. And so we were blessed with this facility that we all run together, which is kind of the heart where the veteran aspect comes in and the first responder aspect comes in. And at first we were trying to figure out a way to call it like Fritz Brothers and Redemption MMA Training Facility, which was just very
gets too clunky.
Very long and clunky. And one day Nate just says, "What about Area 51?" And it was just like a joke for a second. And then it kind of like stuck in our heads and we were like, I think we like Area 51 because also if you look at the building, you would never be able to tell that it's a gym. And that's kind of the cool aspect. It's kind of like this abandoned space from the outside, but then you walk in and it's like a whole gym inside. So that's kind of like the genesis of Area 51. Not as much to do with the aliens or anything, but more kind of the undisclosed private training facility that's ran by athletes, like high-level athletes, and you get really cool one-on-one training in that experience.
So, I mean, you and your husband, Evan, knowing your abilities and what you can do and are capable of, you could have gone like coaching route, and I'm private coach for hire, or you could have opened a gym. What made you say we want to open a gym versus just being private coaches?
Yeah, I would say originally before we opened the gym, I was working at a job that was a regular kind of like 9 to 5. And it was actually a small business. And through that time, I feel like God was kind of like showing me where I would ultimately end up being. So while this whole process of, competing and training and then pageantry, I ended up becoming a trainer at Britt's Brothers Gym. And so I would, for part-time, start personal training there. And then going back to the heart of like, where is my calling and my purpose, I started training these women, and I started seeing their lives change and them start to not only me pour into them and show them health and fitness, but them pour into me. And there was some really, really wise counsel that I got from some of these women, and that just like filled me up so much. And I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be training and coaching women and helping them as much as they help me. And so for a little while, we were thinking like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we just had a space to do that? And it kind of just seemed like a pipe dream, honestly, or seemed like something very far down the line. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe one day, and then I'll just continue doing my thing. But then towards the end of last year, I felt God telling me like, get ready to leave your job. And I was like, what?
Okay.
Wait, what? The job for the past 5 years that I've been very secure in and I've been able to rely on. And that was another humbling thing that had to happen, because I was not used to have to be the one to like surrender in that aspect. I've always had a job, been, the money maker, all those things. And then this time he was just like, yeah, even though I had nothing to really fall back on, it was just like, yeah, get ready to leave your job. And I'm like, what? And so later, I ended up telling my boss at the time, like, hey, I feel like I'm being called to pursue personal training full time, even though on paper it looked a little crazy. I didn't have that many clients to, sustain it. That's when the space for the gym opened up. So we weren't really even trying to open up a gym. It was just like, oh, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to start personal training, and that'll probably be out of redemption. And that's okay. We'll build it up. It's all good. And then that's when the opportunity for the space opened up. And that's when Nate talked to us, because he kind of knew we're very open with him and we're in close relations. So he kind of knew where our hearts were at. And he was like, hey, like, we have this opportunity to open this space and help this community over here. Like, are you guys in? Are you guys trying to do this thing? And so we prayed about it and thought about it a lot. And we were like, yeah, we think this is what the thing that God was like calling us into. So it wasn't really necessarily on the radar to happen when it did, but it was just that like open opportunity that happened that was like undeniable. Like, we were pretty sure this is the thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what made us, go straight into it head on, give everything we have into this space, and then do our best to manage it as much as we can.
Stories of faith, man. They're the best. I mean, it just reminds me, you're over here explaining how it all came about, and I'm just thinking of Genesis 12. And Genesis 12 is the passage where where the Lord calls Abram to leave Ur, and he tells him, I want you to pack up, and I want you to leave into a country that I'll show you. And it's basically like, okay, Lord, where am I going? And he goes, it doesn't matter, just start going, and I'll make it clear when you get there.
Yeah.
And so he says, okay, and that's that whole, hey, Juliette, I want you to prepare to start leaving your job. Well, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? It doesn't matter. Just do what I tell you, and I'll make it happen whenever it's time. I mean, this is wild stuff, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And of course, the part of me that wanted to take control, I was super worried about leaving the stability I felt like I finally found within a job, and I was happy there. I was comfortable. And now I'm being called out into this new thing, and I don't know what's on the other side. I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I finally told my boss, because I was super, worried about that. And then that's when the facility opened, and I was like, what? And I felt like, through our acts of obedience, he's just literally waiting for us to just say, okay, Lord, I'm just going to say yes to you.
Yeah.
And then he like, okay, cool. Now I can move on to the next step. So I feel like sometimes I'm like, being a little stubborn child because I don't know what's, ahead of me. And then he's like, just trust me, just asking to trust.
Comfortability is the enemy of progress.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it is. There's so many, like nothing great is ever accomplished through being comfortable.
For sure.
It's just not, you have to challenge and push yourself. So how long has Area 51 been open?
It's been open for 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, since January.
How's it going?
Sweet baby. It's going great. It's kind of crazy how much we've been able to progress since then. We have a lot of cool things planned for what we want to do. We have these boot camp classes that are opening for the veterans, first responders, that we want to offer to the public as well. This April, we'll be having those start to roll out, and so people can just come in, check it out, try it, and see if they like it. We're trying to reach out to local pastors in the area, offer them and their families training, because we know how much of an impact, health and fitness.
It's super demanding.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think curating space that can help to facilitate not only, challenging your body, your mental, all these things, but doing it in a space where, people are able to connect to. Like people, when you have a gym, people of all walks of life, no matter where you are, they kind of intersect, and it's really cool being able to provide a space that can kind of happen in.
Mm-hmm. When you described yourself already as extremely shy.
Yes.
Growing up. And now you're doing things like competing on stage, public speaking, running a business. When you look back at the younger version of yourself, what do you think she would think of the life you're living?
Oh, she would definitely admire her, I would say. That almost makes me want to cry a little bit. You asking that question actually reminded me, we have on-stage questions at the pageant. And that was like one of the scariest things I had to do, because public speaking is one of my, biggest things I have to work on that I know God is helping me with. But I remember being backstage because they're about to call me up for, they do the top 6 has a question. And my question was, if you could say something to your 16-year-old self.
Oh, they stole my next question.
What would that
Losers.
be? But it literally just took me back to when I was 16, and I paused for a moment, and then I just thought, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was I would just tell her she's worthy. That was the thing I've been looking for my whole life, is just knowing that I'm worthy. And, in the Bible, it says that he knew you when he formed you in your mother's womb, and he set you apart. So that alone is enough evidence to show me that I'm supposed to be here. I have a mission here. And that little girl didn't know that at that time. And that's what I would hope she could learn and see. And so through me sharing my insecurities and all the things that I've been through, I'm hoping that speaks to another little girl that's experiencing that too, because I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah. My question was, if you could go back in time and talk to your 12-year-old self, what would you tell her? And that's a powerful question.
It really is. No.
I try and think about if I could go back and talk to my 16-year-old self, what I would say. I'm not sure yet. I think if you could go back, I think your younger self would be shocked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would not recognize myself.
Stunned that out of this chaos came what you have become. So many biblical passages. There's a part in the prophets where it says he has given us beauty for ashes, or in the book of Micah where the Lord tells them that he will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. And that's powerful stuff. Like all the stuff that you looked at that was loss and pain and a heartache, he can restore all that.
Yeah.
And it's it's a beautiful thing.
No, I agree. And another big reason why I do step out now, like even despite my shyness and everything, like I said, I have kind of a big family. So on my mom's side, I'm the second oldest of 5, and then on my dad's side, I'm the second oldest of, again, 5. So I know what they've been through as well, and I'm also doing this to, show them that they're not stuck like they think they are, like I thought I was. I'm still trying to speak to, my younger siblings by doing all of these things. And even though they might not realize it now, I know later on they can.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with me too. It just takes time sometimes. It takes a little bit of maturity to be able to, look back and see what you were able to be transformed from.
Mm-hmm. My advice to young people would be, gosh, I could spend a lot of time giving advice to young people, but one of them is just don't ever let anybody put you in a box. But I think the person that will box you in more than anybody is yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You will just trap yourself into thinking that you are only capable of these few things, and you're not.
Yeah.
You just have to, I don't know, the hard way to find that. You just have to do things, and you have to have the tenacity to go for it and not to quit.
For sure.
I don't know any better way to say it.
No, I agree. My own ceiling for myself was very low. And then it wasn't until, I got saved, but also until God started putting people in my life that were able to show me, like, hey, the ceiling could actually be up here.
Yeah.
And then it just became no ceiling, because then God showed me through all of the miracles in my life that you can't put a limit to his power, his love, all the things he can provide for you. And a scripture that I clung on to really hard was that he was a father to the fatherless.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what started really, opening up that layer for me.
Right.
Was seeing God as the father, like my dad, when I didn't have one.
Right.
And now I'm able to, receive his love, and then through that be a wife, and then hopefully be a mother.
Yeah. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. God is able to do more than you could ask for. God is able to do more than you even think he's capable of doing, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jeremiah 33:3, call unto me, and I will answer thee and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. Like the great and mighty things that God is able to do, you can't even fathom them. They're so big. That's how big God is.
Yeah.
And because of that, we think too small.
Yep.
But that's part of it. But we are finite beings trying to comprehend the infinite and the incomprehensible. Yeah. So it's difficult. But when you really get in tune with God and you realize that the possibilities are beyond what you can even come up with, that's when you just give him the keys and say, like, all right, Lord, you do whatever you think is best, and I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. So I stopped saying, I'm going to be this now, because I don't know if that's limiting where I'm supposed to be at. And I would also like to say, when I reflect on when I was a child, because it's such a contrast. So if somebody is struggling with where do I go in life, I have no direction. Probably start at the things that make you the most afraid, or the things that make you the most like you want to run away from, because that's ended up being, the strongest points for me. And that's, in hindsight, I feel like what the enemy tried to steal from me when I was a child.
Yeah.
And so, I would just say, look at the things that scare you.
That's good. Those are challenges, and you can overcome them. And I would say, for my 2 cents, and there's both. Those are practical.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody were to say to me, where should I go in life? I would say it's not a where, it's a who.
Oh, yes, for sure. For sure.
Go to Jesus,
Yeah,
man.
start there.
Yeah, that's the destination.
Yes.
Well, look, I think that I have pretty much touched on just about everything that we had planned, but is there anything that we missed that you want to hit?
No, I think I said what I came to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, just a couple of things. If people want to follow the journey of Mrs. Greenville America, what's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook under Juliette Pierce, Juliette Pierce _ for Instagram. And then we also have a gym page. It's A51 Gym. That's on Instagram and also on Facebook.
And so is the best way for people to communicate with Area 51 just through DM right now?
Yeah, probably just DM. We are working on getting a website put up and everything like that.
Okay.
But for right now, just kind of communicating either directly through my personal page or the gym page or my husband's page would be the best way.
And so Evan's...
Yes, Evan is on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, Evan Pierce, and then Instagram, Evan _ Pierce.
Evan _
Yes.
Pierce. Okay, cool beans. Well, look, this has been super fun.
No,
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate you making the time. And again, I'm honored to have the first full-fledged interview with Juliette Pierce, Mrs. Greenville America. That's super awesome. We will encourage everyone to listen to this story.
Yeah,
because it's a
thank
beautiful
you.
story. So, anything else you want to hit or say?
No, I'm good.
No, we're good. All right. Well, listen. You've been listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. As I said, if you like the show and you want to support it, the best thing you can do is just to give the show a follow. But take it, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it on your socials, and share it with the world, because Sunday Afternoon Smokes is really sweet. We'll talk to you soon.